Well, I'm here with the producer and the director of Inspector Sun, Julio Soto and Adriana Chen. Hey guys, how's it going?
Hi. Pretty good. I
I
love
guess.
I love that poster you have in the background.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good movie there. Um, so I'm looking at your past IMDb. You have a mix of different genres that you work in. I guess what led you to Inspector Sun? I guess what's the special sauce in making a kids movie?
I started many years ago as I used to be a painter, and I was living in New York at that time and having exhibitions and stuff. But I always felt like the it was a bit of a niche, the art world. So that I jumped into making documentaries, experimental films, and the more I started getting into new media, cinema and stuff, the more I realized that I wanted to tell stories for a bigger audience, and so that audience started growing. And I realized that animation was the perfect vehicle for telling stories, particularly to kids, which are still very porous to ideas. So they absorb pretty much everything you want to communicate. And I always like telling stories and talking about topics, topics that for me are important. So I think animation is a perfect vehicle for that. You can deliver a message. You can do it in a fun way. You can reach a big audience. So I think it's wonderful.
And this is kind of for both of you. I somewhat understand what goes into the job as far as director and producer goes in a live action movie, but how does that role change when you're doing animation?
Wow. In my case, as producer, I started working for Disney Channel, doing series, and we do a lot of motion graphics and blah blah. And animation, you can create your world. Is everything more, ¿cómo se dice? Que puedes
It's easier to control.
To control. Yeah. No, the times you have more time to do the things. So if something goes wrong, you can correct, and it's totally different doing an animation than in live action movies. No, but at the end you tell a story, but it's in production.
It's bigger budgets, obviously. Like animation is super expensive to make. It also takes a long time. It's not the 6 to 8 weeks of a live action shoot. This is 2 years of production, nonstop, with hundreds of people working on it. So it's a very difficult. It's a totally different beast, but it's also very rewarding. I mean, we are an independent studio, so we can pretty much do anything that we want within certain limits. Of course, you have to make commercial movies that buyers are going to buy, because part of what we do is finance with pre-sale. So you have to pre-sell the movie so that you can finance it. So you can't really deviate that much from the original script or the original ideas, but you have total flexibility to build a world like this with spiders, insects of all kinds, 1930s Shanghai, a flying seaplane, a crime story for families. I mean, you can do pretty much anything you want.
Also, with the following the script, I imagine you'd have to do that anyway for a animation, because you can't just point a camera and reshoot it in a day. You gotta do like the animatics and all that stuff.
That's why it's so important to have a really accurate animatic from the beginning, which is basically a storyboard that you time perfectly with voices and everything, so that you can see the movie already. And basically the same shots that you have in the animatic is the shots that you see at the end of the movie. There is very little variation.
In our case, because we need to control
the budget.
But yes, in our case, we can ensure that the vision of the director will be the same from the beginning to the end. No, we sell the movie that we will see at the end.
Also, I'm looking at the IMDb. There's two voice actors for Inspector Sun, Janie Arabella and Captain Skelton, I think. And then I came across Jesus Pareda, passed away earlier this year. So first of all, sorry to hear that, but what can you tell us about him?
He was voicing the Spanish version of Inspector Sun, the original, so to speak. The English original is Ronnie Chiang, the comedian.
Okay.
He's an amazing actor. And Jesus was the voice of Inspector Sun. I just learned recently that he died. So yeah, it's a big loss. I mean, he was a wonderful guy. He was a big reference in Spain for voiceover acting. In Spain, there is a big history of voice actors, and it's professionals that really only spend their career doing voice acting. So it's not, regular live action actors that jump and do some voiceover acting. No, it's people that spend their whole careers just doing voice acting. So they are professionals of this, and they're extremely accurate. They do the timing perfectly. They do the lip sync perfectly. And he was one of these guys. So yeah, we're very sad about it.
Now, his version is so the one I saw was the Ronnie Chang. I saw the one in English. Is the original going to be available? I know this comes out October 27th in theaters, but is the original going to be available maybe on Blu-ray or anything like that after its theater run?
That really depends on what they do later on, the distributors on each country. But I know that, for example, the movie was distributed on HBO Max in Latin America. And they usually keep the Spanish version, but I don't know what they will do in the States. I really can't tell you. I don't know what they're going to do.
No.
The distributor is Viva Pictures, and I'm sure that they will keep both versions because I heard that 40% of people in the States speak Spanish, so it's a big chunk of the population.
No, I think it was kind of a silly question. What's next for you guys? Like, is Inspector Sun going to keep going forward with that, or you got other projects on the horizon?
We're hoping this will become a franchise. That really depends on what happens on October 27th. I mean, we're fingers crossed it will go wonderfully, and then we can maybe think about
Inspector Sun 2,
a sequel. Yeah. In the
Inspector
meantime,
Moon.
That's good. And we're just about to start production on our next movie, which is called Evolution. It's a comedy also for families. It's a really fun project. There are animals, there are humans, there is a bit of everything. There are chases, action, there is humor. I mean, there are emotions. So we're very pleased about the next movie, Evolution. And hopefully you'll get to see it in a couple of years. So
all right,
let's see.
Definitely look forward to that. And on this, we got a What's in the Box segment. We have a box that we have people put in movies that's either personal to them or maybe they just like a lot that are underseen. What's a movie that each of you would like to put inside the box?
Good question. I guess talking about Inspector Sun, I would put the Maltese Falcon.
All right.
The Humphrey Bogart movie from 49.
Nice.
Me?
Yes.
Yep.
She's from Brazil. Say it in Spanish.
In Cidade de Deus?
A City of God. Remember?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's the late 90s.
I need to sell my country.
About some kids in a favela of Rio. Yeah, that was
well, Adriana, what are some other Brazilian movies besides City of God that you might point us to?
Otra película brasileña. I love
Tropa de Élite.
Elite Troops. I don't know what the name is. I love the yellow mango yellow, the color of yellow mangoes. I mean, I don't know. It's difficult to translate them. There are a bunch of Brazilian movies.
Well, Julio, Adriana, thank you for taking the time. Congratulations on Inspector Sun. Hope it does well, and we get to watch that Inspector Moon. Looking forward to that.
I like that name.
Thank you.
Thank you much.